Hello, BookTube. I had to put a shelf up here in the grotto. And when I was doing it, I thought, wow, I've never done a book tour or a room tour or whatever you want to call it of the grotto. And maybe I should. Now, it's going to be a bit challenging. The layout of the room is odd. It's a teeny room. Some of you have closets in your house that are bigger, I'm sure. Has one window, one door, it goes out onto the porch. This is an old cottage, about 200 years old. The rumor is these little rooms where people would sit and wait for the stagecoach, which makes sense. In fact, I've seen pictures of the house when the road out front was dirt and there was stagecoach in front of the house. So it's not really built, it's not very useful for us because it doesn't access directly in the house. I actually have to go across the porch to a room that's exactly like this, except for it has a door into the house. So it's a room I was able to claim for myself. I sit out here, have my pipe, watch my baseball games. I got a little teeny TV. I got a little teeny stereo where I can, a little boombox thing where I can listen to music. And I have my books. And they're piled everywhere, but it's comfortable for me. And of course, I have the recliner here, and that matters. So I'm going to make an attempt to do this. So we'll splice it together because it's the only way I'm going to be able to do it. So this is going to be a tour of the grotto, my little miniature man cave, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, here we are. That's a door. So I keep all of my, well, not all of my, but a lot of my ball caps. Also got them hanging on the door. So if we start up here, you notice it's a lot of maritime stuff right there. A lot of my Tristan Jones collection, my Sterling Hayden on the end. Some pirate stuff, history of ships in the sea, boat building, and goes on and on. A lot of Nelson and Trafalgar, Cochrane, Captain Cook, some pipe cleaners. Down here, more books on history of the sea. Now, this is what happens. I have to try to get behind this big pile of books here for you to see, but it looks like it's doing all right. So, more maritime history, some lifeboat and Coast Guard stuff you see down in there. There's a lot more Coast Guard stuff. And basically that. So over here, this big pile behind there is American Heritage magazines. The Jeff Hunt covered Patrick O'Brien, Jack Higgins, science fiction anthology, a couple Louis L'Amours. And some Zane Grey and some Westerns. Those down there on the bottom are some comic book catalogs. Over here, I have an old Coast Guard poster. You can't see it, but under that rescue boat being rowed was my old boat that I used to be the coxswain of. Was a 44-foot-more lifeboat, but it's hidden behind a pile of wooden boat magazines, a dragon, some Star Trek memorabilia type stuff. How you like that guy? I'm always afraid that little tail will break off that little dog, but there you go. Some more maritime stuff. Seamanship. Chapman's piloting, which is very famous. The green ones there are Bowditch. If you're a navigator, you know what those are. More maritime stuff. That Time Life Seafarer set, which I enjoy. That little Disney set on the end, I actually had when I was a little boy, so that's sort of neat. I'm going to come back and do the science fiction because I'll actually have to move the chair, but I prefer to do that at the end. So up the top here on the left there, lots of old comic books and science fiction magazines, fantasy and science fiction, Asimov's, Analog. We're more into the maritime fiction. You'll see some omnibuses up there. Ramage series, Hornblower series on the right there, more Hornblower, Half Hide. My Douglas Riemann, Alexander Kent collection. They're both the same people. It's just an author using two different names, but his name was Douglas Riemann. I can probably look down into here and you'll see it's more maritime stuff. Dewey Lambden. Up here at the top, I have the Robert Jordan Wheel of Time. Some different maritime sets. Yeah, that's old Ironside. Then Sterling Hayden's Voyage there, which is a wonderful novel. Start getting into Bernard Cornwell, and I've got a lot of those. And then Coast Guard Cutter Eagle. So more Bernard Cornwell. And then down to some George Railroad Martin and some historical mysteries, and then my Flashman books, which I love. I'm probably getting some it looks like I'm getting little shadows here with my finger. I apologize, but I'm not going to refilm the whole thing. Up here, we got we got Bone, Lawhead. We've got a guide to or a companion to the Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. Got some of my omnibuses of comic books. Conan, Spider-Man, Superman, X-Men. You can sort of tell what I like. A lot of Batman. The Wakanda one I have not read yet, but I've looked through it. It looks pretty good. Getting sort of a mix. I got some Tarzan. I've got, a bio of Edgar Rice Burroughs. I've got sort of a mix down in there. I'll see if I can get around some old Burroughs. Babylon 5. My friend Sean D. Standfast, like that. Then I keep doing that with my finger. Across the top here, I just took a 1x6 today and just plopped it across the top of the existing bookshelves. So up there I got Louis L'Amour, all the way down to Hammond Ennis and Alistair MacLean, Ellis Peters. I put that up there just to get some paperbacks off the floor. Over here I have the Complete Chronicles of Conan, which has belonged to that particular volume. Once belonged to Jason Harrigan, those of you who remember Jason, and then Steve Donahue, and now myself. Then H.P. Lovecraft, some ghost stories, the Merlin trilogy, Shannara stuff. We've got some Tolkien stuff. My Tolkien collection's mostly up in my room. I have a much bigger Tolkien collection. Some Salvatore mixed in here, so you can tell this is a bit of a mess. But most of you will recognize all these. Some old Conan paperbacks, some C.S. Lewis Narnia books, Sanderson, all the book club Elric saga, which I really enjoy. I have to get to this Joe Abercrombie, set. I've been told that it's a good one, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. The Belgariad set there, the Science Fiction Book Club omnibus editions, and I've read those probably 40 times. There's my boombox. Just piles of old fantasy and science fiction on the floor. My TV. There's a set of reprints of Explorations from the centuries past that I need to get on a shelf inside the house, and then some John Ringo, Anne McCaffrey. Those boxes back there are all comic books, primarily Conan, Red Sonja, some Star Trek stuff. Here's some old hats stuck in there, comic books. Here I have my Doc Savage and the Cobweb. A lot of Larry Niven. Then over here, of Quite a bit of Star Trek. That's an old Star Trek calendar. I don't know if I can get up. Yeah, I can show you that. Some Star Wars stuff also. Some old cigar aficionado magazines. Some Red Sox stuff because I'm a big fan. Looks like I got some books sticking out here, so I'll pop them in with my foot. Whoop, my finger again. Battlestar Galactica. Star Trek paperbacks. Then we get back into some Larry Niven. Get some Babylon 5 paperbacks. A. Bertram Chandler, who I really like. Miles Verkosigan. That one looks pretty rough on the end, doesn't it? I love those novels. Lois McMaster Bujold. And then some other science fiction. So I'm going to see if I can look down here on the sci-fi here across the room. Those Mike Ashley books are really neat. Science Fiction Hall of Fame. Encyclopedia of Science Fiction. Piles of Heinlein. Asimov. You can see I just sort of have these things piled everywhere. Dune, Anne McCaffrey. It's going to be hard to see any of this stuff. I'll just scoot down and see if I can look. A lot of Arthur C. Clarke, Ursula K. Le Guin, more Larry Niven, some John Scalzi. So yeah, I guess this is probably going to be the best I can do with this. But yeah, it's my little hideaway. New shelf. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And I know my finger keeps getting in the way, but I'm holding the tablet and I just don't know how else to do it. So, and if you're getting seasick, maybe I won't post this. So, thank you, BookTube.